Good evening, Speed Gaming. Welcome to the final match of the round of 32 for the 2022 Link to the Past Randomizer tournament. We've got a couple of great runners here for you today. Both of whom really earned their spots here, Freddeh and WallKicks. This is game 3, winner take all, goes on to the next round to face some guy called Andy, I think. So big stakes here. I'm Drosy, and joining me on location from Sioux Falls, South Dakota, is my good buddy Will WC. How are you tonight?
Doing great. The fans up here in Sioux Falls have been just the electric level of energy all weekend long, talking about this one, waiting to see who the final gamer making it into the Sweet 16 of the brackets here will be. Freddeh and WallKicks. Freddeh managed to win the first race by a couple of minutes. Second race was one that was one for the ages. Freddeh getting out to an early lead, clawing out about a minute lead, and then just during the final minutes of that one, WallKicks making up ground slowly but surely up through the climb and up the tower, and finally overtaking him during phase 3 of Ganon to stay alive in this best of 3 series. So we are off, and we're going to get our boots hint. They are in Palace of Darkness today.
Could be better, could be worse.
Yeah, but you would not be a surprise to see that be somewhere that the runners make every effort to get to as soon as we get Dark World access, whether it's a pendant or a crystal. So this being Ambrosia, of course, we have the standard start. Both runners will start with a sword that becomes active when they talk to the uncle and receive his item. And we will hope that we can get bombs or boots alternatively. It looks like we had 2 pendants there at Desert and at Eastern Palace, and then a regular crystal up at Tower of Hera.
Okay, you caught the desert one. I missed desert, but I'll take your word for it. Okay. Caught it the second time around. So the green pendant is the one that's outstanding, interestingly. That's going to be in the Dark World somewhere.
And as you can see from both the Uncle give out and the secret passage chest and the guard drops, we now have plenty of bombs, so we will be able to get the 3 chests in the back of Escape on our way through here for both runners with no problems.
Always nice to get that out of the way early. In fact, we have quite a lot of bombs.
Yeah, so 2 3-packs, and then we know that the guards are in the bomb packs, so with those and the snakes in the sewers also being in that same prize pack, I would be very surprised if we don't leave Escape with 10 arrows in all. Or 10 bombs, excuse me.
I wonder why they call that the map chest, by the way.
You know, I think it's because if you play the original Link to the Past video game released by Nintendo, if you open that chest, there is a map.
So we could be playing that original game because they opened the chest and there was a map.
We could. We could. We don't know.
I mean, if there's a boomerang in this one.
Nope, just even more bombs. Just bombs everywhere through Escape. Guaranteed that when we get out of this and get up to the tree and check the tree pull, we're going to get 8 bombs on the tier 2 tree pull, because why wouldn't we? And WallKicks will be first down here into Zelda's basement cell.
Yeah, as we learned in Game 2, as you were saying, if this winds up being a battle of execution, WallKicks has a definite edge.
Yeah, and I don't even know that it's a huge advantage. It was really kind of just a couple of things that went really wrong in the final stages of that Game 2 race. Freddeh was kind of maintaining advantage for a while, but some really, really tough dead rock luck, and then a little bit of just kind of super clean execution from WallKicks' side to get through a 2-cycle Aga 2 fight and a perfectly clean Master Sword Ganon fight was just enough.
Yeah, I mean, WallKicks had been slowly making up time, but yeah, Freddeh hadn't gotten dead rocked. It wouldn't have been quite enough. As for these two runners, I was looking up their histories. Surprisingly, neither of them has gone further than the round of 32 in this tournament before, so one of them will be making their first appearance in the round of 16.
I know. I know WallKicks and I battled in the round of 64 last year, and you can guess from that little trivia snippet how that went for me. But WallKicks ran into Shady Force there in round 2, who was on a bit of a tear during last year's tournament as well. So both of these runners, though, very, very qualified in their own rights, and both well-deserving of a spot here in the next round of the tournament.
Yeah, Freddeh actually goes back quite a ways. He got to the round of 32 in the infamous Spring 2018 tournament that was the brackets following the 512 Swiss.
512 Swiss. Music to my ears.
So, Dark Cross had to be the small key to get through this next door, which means now we're going to find actual items here in the back of Escape and Sanctuary.
We've already seen the map, we've seen the small key, and we're going to get 3 items here in the back of Escape and 1 more in the Sanctuary chest, and then we'll see if both the runners just continue on into Kakariko or if we try and get any kind of early divergence going.
Actually, I wonder, with all these bombs, will they bomb their way out of the top of this room?
Yeah, we got there's our boomerang, a little bit late, as well as a cane of Samaria and $50. That'll come in handy for Kakariko, and we are seeing the diverging routes out of the back of Escape chest room. Not sure that it was a great advantage in either direction, but
Freddeh knows what's up. You have that many bombs, you just have to use them.
Sure. And we're seeing the stun prize is a heart there from Freddeh real quick. Which you certainly don't mind as a runner seeing, especially if you end up on some kind of low percent dungeon crawls later on, that knowing that stun prize is a heart can be helpful. And we are going to see some divergence here. Freddie's saving and quitting right out of the back of Sanctuary, and we'll see what direction he chooses to go here.
The cack skip.
Yeah.
And incidentally, WallKicks hasn't actually done a map check yet.
Right. Wally kind of has a preference against early map check-in. I think he's one of those who puts it off in part because he doesn't want to let the kind of pendant crystal layout early dictate his actions. So it's kind of an interesting philosophy around it versus, my personal preference is I like to have that information as soon as possible, but, it's you understand his reasoning and it works for him, so.
And is Freddeh going to give us our third pendant information while he's in here, as he finds the hammer? Wow.
Hammer over at Saha, and we're going to save and quit again. And by the way, I called it earlier. We sure enough did have bombs on the tier 2 tree pole, because why wouldn't we? And so now Freddeh going to head to the South Shore as WallKicks heads into Kakariko here. So we're going to get a whole bunch of checks here in a hurry.
From both of them.
For sure.
Shout outs to our tracker, Iwola Koala, who's going to have to keep track of all these different checks going on at the same time.
Yeah, nothing like dueling 5-item caves, right? So what do we have over here in the Blinds Hut? 20 rupees, there is a glove, heart container, and a heart piece, as Freddeh takes out the mini Moldworms there, and is going to see the 5 items in the back of mini Moldworm Cave.
Depending on the Moon Pearl, Freddeh could wind up with his Dark World access in Kakariko.
Yeah, and that's doubly nice there for Freddeh delaying the Kakariko visit. He got a bottle and the flute out of Mini Moldworm Cave, as well.
And also
gets his map check-in.
And also half magic, which is nice if he wants to do anything with that Samaria, because it gave him a full fill.
That is true. using the Samaria as an early weapon is not quite as important in Ambrosia due to the starting sword, and of course he has the hammer as well. But it is you're never going to complain about it, really. And there's the Moon Pearl. So Freddeh is going to get his Dark World access here as he gets into Kakariko at the same time that he gets his flute activated. Boy, that sure is going to be like you finish out doing Kakariko there and go straight to Pod. We also just saw the powder there on
I was going to say, so Freddeh will do Magic Bat while he's in Kakariko, too.
So in addition to activating the flute and getting another extra check from Sick Kid, Freddeh is also going to get an extra check done in Magic Bat with that. So the play over to Saha and the play down to Mini Moldarm Cave working out very nicely here in the early going here for Freddeh.
Yeah, I wonder
if anything really interesting other than money here in Kakariko since then.
I wonder if Freddie's gonna try to buy a potion, though, because with the flute, we know the boots are in Pod. He has a hammer. Can't beat Pod, but if you can potion glitch, you can flute to 5 and get there pretty quickly. Yeah,
and we did see Freddeh release the bee in the Lost Woods there, so he has already cleaned out that spot and has that glove in hand, and now that he's getting the glove here, he's about to get the Moon Pearl in the well. He's going to be thinking, let's go fill up that potion and get to Pod ASAP and try and get those boots as quick as we can. Meanwhile, WallKicks finishing up his Kakariko checks is going to head south. Looks like he is heading straight for Mini Moldarm Cave here as well. And I would expect, once he sees the flute there, a save and quit, and then another walk back to Kakariko to activate it. But it'll still be a little bit delayed, and he won't have that hammer just yet to follow Freddeh into the Dark World.
I wonder, actually... Well, WallKicks, I guess, must have picked up some money somewhere, so if Freddeh does as well, he could simply flute to 2 and buy a potion. Right now, he hasn't paid the bottle vendor yet, and he's gonna want Kiki money.
Right.
So I could see Freddeh potentially doing fake flippers just to try to get a free potion out of Waterfall.
Yeah, possibly, but I think he's going to get money here out of the Chicken Hut, I believe. So.
Oh, that's where it was.
Yeah. So he'll have plenty of money for a potion and pod money at least to get in there. And WallKicks heading over to activate his flute here in just a second as well and get his Sick Kid check. So no advantage there yet for Freddeh, but he is going to, if there is anything on Magic Bat, Freddie's going to get to that, I think, a little bit before WallKicks does.
Kind of amazing that we got Sphere 1 Dark World access, Sphere 1 Magic Bat, Sphere 1 Flute.
Yeah, we've got a lot of the game wide open to us there beyond these early starting items, like Flute, and Flute opens up the Death Mountain for us. We don't have a way across yet, but
if Mirror or Hookshot were to show up, suddenly Death Mountain looks attractive, especially if Mitts also show up.
Yep, definitely. And of course, we know with this being Ambrosia, we've got that Boots, Hint, and Pod. So we expect to see that sometime real soon here once Freddeh finishes up his Kakariko trip. First look at the dam. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
You kind of hope to turn up a bow and do it all in one go.
Yeah, it would be nice, but I think that lure of the boots and just kind of having to metagame that your opponent's going to go straight for it, that is a book at Magic Bat.
Well,
that's...
One thing to remember, though, it is Ambrosia. Bosses are guaranteed to have an item, so there's a 1 in 5 chance that those boots are on Helmet King, and we can't get there without the bow.
And a Bombos tablet, drained item at the dam. A couple of interesting items showing up there at the same time with that book on Magic Bat, giving us access minus a fire source to complete it for Desert Palace, and potentially those boots.
And speaking of desert, the mirror is on Desert Ledge, so it seems like the book that we got from Magic Bat is our access to the mirror.
Okay, so that is very big. Now I don't know exactly when Freddeh will go to that. We're heading over to the potion shop now. Gonna buy a potion like you predicted here, and then I think we're heading over to Pod and gonna hope that we got that 4 in 5 chance, like you said, that the boots are accessible somewhere in that is not on Helmasaur. Looks like we are going to do a few more checks first on Freddie's side, though.
Well, if he's doing this, hopefully he'll then flute to 6 and find out about that mirror, because that'll help immensely when he goes to the Dark World.
Yeah, that will. If he does that route, that will work out very nicely for him, because he'll be able to pick up that mirror before setting foot into the Dark World here. But now WallKicks is heading over here to Saha, and he's going to get his hammer. And for all of that, he might actually be the first one to make it into Pod today. And we see that Thieves Town is our green pendant, so that completes our pendant, or our pendant knowledge at least. We don't know yet what our red crystals are in the Dark World.
And apologies, the tracker app is lagging a bit. Our tracker has been keeping up, but the tracker app is just like, I'll update someday.
Yeah, it sometimes does that, but we are going to see a pair of pod dives here for both of our runners. Looks like Freddeh will be just a hair earlier getting in there. He will also... I did not see WallKicks make it over to get a potion. So he may have to, if he wants to do the bow-locked chests in Pod, he may have to do an old-fashioned mimic clip if he wants to get those done.
But this is WallKicks, and given the amount of entrance rando he plays, and you never know when you'll have to climb GT, I'm sure he has the mimic clip down.
Yeah, it's been a while. I don't remember since I've seen him in a situation like that where a mimic clip was potentially viable. So I don't know necessarily his comfort level with it, but I'd imagine he's probably okay with it, and he's not going to need it at least to get in the front, as we have a small key in the shooter room to start.
This is where picking up the mirror would have come in handy, though.
Yeah, that would have been a definite time advantage here in Pod for Freddeh, but in this case, it's not going to work out any differently. Both of them having more hearts than you really want to, be death warping with, and no mirror and no boots yet. So we'll see if that actually, plays out in any way. There's the big key on the bridge. And Freddeh going to take the long walk over here to the big key chest and be disappointed in just a second.
Yeah, big key won't unlock small key. No, he's just going around that way. I
think he realized it eventually there while waiting for that bomb to explode. You have time to think about things when you're waiting for bombs, and sometimes those things are, just small misplays that you may have made. But Freddie's going to head over here, do his potion glitch, and get over to the right side of Pod. And we will see... WallKick's going to take that key and just head right back upstairs and go up to the back of Pod here. So... no right side skips for WallKicks just yet.
Yeah, now Freddeh could find out here if he gets something that isn't a small key, then the big key chest must be a small key, and we can safely ignore it.
Right. And there's one small key and another small key, so that big key chest could still have an item for us today.
As we see, our first item in Pod is just a heart container.
Yep, and now we're navigating through Dark Basement for a small key. We had to find at least one of those back here. And a heart container.
2 more. Jeez. It's a very healthy Pod.
Yeah. Where are those boots? No, they're in here somewhere. WallKicks going to set up a hammer jump here just to save the small key so that he can go back through the front here in a minute.
Yeah, this is also interesting. Either Harmless Hellway or Vanilla Big Key Chest must be a small key locking itself, but we don't know which one. And wow, there are the mitts. So even if the boots are on Helma King, this trip was worth it for the mitts.
Say so. There's a compass down in the bottom of Dark Maze. So yeah, we've got... there are the boots. So we get the boots and we get the mitts. WallKicks is out of here.
Because that's 4 items. He knows the last one has to be on Helma King.
Okay. So WallKicks now going to take a kind of more traditional route through the Dark World here. Going to come down to the Fleet 4 portal, get into the Dark World here, and Freddie's going to get his mitts and his boots over here in Dark Maze.
I realize Desert's a pendant, but I wonder if Freddie's going to be tempted by boots plus early book.
I would hope, or not necessarily hope, but like what I kind of expect would be the play where you make it over there and kind of peek the desert ledge maybe before you do like a Mire Shed play. And if you see the mirror there, you're going to do a triple take and then immediately go open up desert and get that mirror before you do anything else.
Makes sense. I mean, and that also means that the book is hard required. Swamp is a crystal, so we need the mirror, and the only way to get it is with the book.
WallKicks going to round up here, going east, and going to get up here to the pyramid and to Catfish, and then maybe make a second trip through since he's already seen that mirror and knows he's a book away from being able to retrieve it. Maybe trying to put off some of the Smith chain and mirror lock checks like K45 to do together.
Oh, and by the way, since we didn't specifically say, our 5-6 crystals were Skullwoods and Turtle Rock, so I predict there are no rods in Pyramid Fairy today.
That seems like a safe bet. One kind of rule of thumb that I've heard that a lot of runners use, including me, is that if you have kind of crystals that, red crystals that might be obtained earlier in the game, you might, choose to put off like a Pyramid Catfish play. But if you have some like Turtle Rock that are usually deep in the logic, maybe getting over and doing Pyramid Catfish earlier is a safer play because you're less likely to be combining it with Pyramid Fairy in the end.
I also realized Freddeh either wasn't counting items in pod or forgot that Ambrosia means that the boss has to have an item because he went back to the Vanilla Big Key Chest to get the map.
Yeah, and if I had to guess, it was probably an item counting thing, more so, because I have just a mental block when it comes to counting items in pod as well, because I'm usually trying to count small keys and think about that logic, and then I just trip over my own feet. We are going to get a look. We've gotten the 2 boots lock checks in North Dark World, or North Light World here, and we're going to see what is on the Lumberjack today. Find out if Aga is a requirement for us. It is just a shield.
I don't think we're going for that.
Nope, no Aga for us today. And now Freddie gonna head back into Lost Woods here. I think we're gonna see him come over and give us a ped check. So if you are the sort of person who enjoys pedestal or pedestal related things, this is your big moment to shine here. Tell us what item you think is gonna be on the pedestal in the chat right this minute.
Ironically, we can't actually do finish desert because we don't have a fire source, so Thebes is the only pendant in logic, and we don't care.
Yep, but just a heart piece on the pedestal, so no need for that today. And now Freddie gonna head down here from the pedestal and go into the Dark World via the Village of Outcasts.
This is frustrating. WallKicks has mirror knowledge, but can't get it because he hasn't done Magic Bat. Freddeh has the book to get the mirror, but he doesn't know about the mirror.
Right. And Mushroom there at Ice Rod Cave for WallKicks, so that'll give him one more little fetch questy thing to do before going any further. And looks like he did set up a water walk, so we're going to see the flipper checks here from WallKicks, even though he is just a little bit short of Zora money at this point.
Freddeh also, it's interesting that he's doing Skull Woods here when there is at most one item in the middle and front.
Right. I know a lot of people, have very strong opinions about Skull Woods, the front of Skull Woods, and the value in checking it early. But we got a bow for WallKicks over there at Waterfall Ferry.
Yeah, so this is interesting. The boots and mitts are logically locked by the lamp, and the bow is logically locked by the flippers.
Yeah, and WallKick's going to take that water walk right back out and go into Ice Palace here. So that's some heads-up routing there to kind of combine a couple of those checks together.
He can beat it, though I don't know why you'd want to do Fighter Sword Cold Stare if you can avoid it.
He's got enough hearts, and you've got a hammer, which makes that fight, more doable. Maybe, you've got 3 items in here. Maybe you hit a sword. Maybe you hit a fire rod in here and makes the fight, closer to trivial. There's I don't hate this play. It's going to be a tougher, harder boss fight for sure. And there is our one item out of the front of Skull Woods.
Okay, Freddeh has clearly forgotten that Ambrosia means Moth has the other.
Yeah, so it may take him, getting a couple of boss kills in before that finally sort of clicks for him here. We know that hook shot there is going to be the only item that he finds here. It's just going to be small key is map compass, big key for Freddeh. Otherwise, here in the front of Skull Woods. And the same will be true for all of our dungeons. All of the bosses that we have in all of 10 of our dungeons will have will have an item. Speaking of items, did you see what WallKicks got over there in the compass chest in Ice Palace?
I missed it.
Well, if you look at him swinging his sword right now, that'll give you a clue.
That makes Cold Stare a little bit easier.
It certainly does. So, finding the Master Sword there. And there is another sword up there on the bumper ledge that we just have informational access to on Freddie's side. So, we now know where 2 of our 3 swords, rather, are for the seed, given that we started with one of them.
Yeah, I wonder though, sorry, the mirror's really bugging me because WallKicks has so many better things to do than Magic Bat from his perspective, and with the hook shot, Freddie's probably more likely to flute to 1 than to flute to 6 once he's done in this area.
Yeah, I think that's very possible, especially with that hook shot. There is the other bow in the front of Thieves Town, so...
Wow.
Boy, you could have made bank on this one if you had put off Pod just a skosh, but... there's the fire rod as well, so...
To go back to Skull Woods!
Yeah, so there is... that's a pair of items to start off your Pendant Thieves Town with, right?
Yeah, and since Blind has to have one, I might have just bailed after 2. I mean, maybe we'll get a 3rd one here and be really... Nope, it's just the map.
Yeah, map and vanilla big key.
Yeah. I'm expecting
at this point, thinking about that mirror, though, I think maybe there's a reasonable chance WallKicks ends up actually getting to that book sooner than later. Because I think with mitts in hand, he's going to want to make his way over to Village of Outcasts, and, what better, if you're going to be fluting to 3, and unless you're trying to put off Magic Bat to do with the rest of Smith Chain with the mirror, it's tough not to think that he does, or tough to think that he doesn't do it right before he, goes into the Dark World portal there. And so nothing else that we saw there in Village of Outcasts on Freddie's side, as WallKicks is heading into his Cold Stare fight. Got his bombos out to break the shell.
Yeah, let's see how he approaches this between Hammer and Master Sword spins. And looks like Freddie's actually gonna put off Moth a bit, which is not horrible. It's one item. You can get it any time.
Right.
It's not like the 5/6 is gonna be in logic without the Ice Rod anyway.
There's that, and also you've got Flute and Mitts. You don't have any... You can come back and do that one item check anytime you want to. WallKicks making great work with the hammer there. Getting those puffs down without taking a single hit. Gets an Ether for his reward. And gets the first crystal of the race here at just under the half-hour mark. We're going to get our first look here at Stumpy from Freddie here. And just a heart piece there. And that'll do it for his route.
Not continuing on to Hype Cave. That's a little surprising.
Yeah, I wonder if he... I wonder what he's got in mind here. I'm a little surprised he wouldn't continue that route on, but... Okay, we are going to get over here to Flute 6. Are we going... Oh, just...
Freddie, really?
Well, WallKicks is going into the Dark World here, and he didn't get his book like I expected, so we're not getting that mirror for a little bit longer here.
Really quick, but I think that was Bombos for Meyer?
I did not catch it. I will let our tracker Awala Koala confirm that it is in fact Bombos. And nothing there in Meyer's shed for Freddie. Little does he know. Does he know
Freddie,
that
you're
there in the light world, he walked past an important item.
You're not at all tempted?
Got that flute out again. I bet we're going somewhere. We're going buy another potion. All right. WallKick's going to make his way in here, get his silver arrows, and get his fire rod out of the front of Thieves' Town.
Oh, I guess Freddie can do Meyer.
Oh, that's a point. Yeah.
As WallKicks. Nope, but he's going to the mountain. Okay. Well then.
All right. I can't blame him from a density perspective here, but it's gonna be still a while longer until we get that mirror knowledge, and that's gonna be kind of big for Freddie here if we see something important up here on Spectacle Rock or on Floating Island. Nothing there on Spectacle Rock, just 20 rupees and a heart container inside that I don't think we're gonna get.
See what WallKicks does here after doing the front four. Yeah, he's death warping too.
Yeah, I mean, it is essentially, you commit to a full Thieves' Town clear here, get 2 items plus the green pendant item later, but boy, you've just got better things to do.
Yeah, I mean, that's a long time spent to get 3 items.
Yeah. I
mean, I agree, you never know if a runner's gonna try something weird, especially in a game 3.
Yeah, I think both of these runners, I think they're both relatively they'll take smart risks when they have to, but I think WallKicks especially is going to be playing pretty thorough, and I don't think we've seen any signs that Freddie is thinking any differently tonight. I think they're both going to just kind of play their game. I didn't really see much of anything there in Paradox Cave, so that's 7 items that kind of came up a bust.
Yeah, that was pretty junk.
And WallKick's about to get his hook shot here out of the pot prison in Skull Woods. And we'll see him just walk right out. So he is keeping good tabs on the ambrosia nature of the seed.
I mean, if this race winds up being close, that's a minute or two that Freddie's cost himself by not keeping tabs when WallKicks did.
Right. Just some small cash up there on Ether Tablet. WallKicks gonna come back here and give us a look at the Mothula fight as we see Freddeh head into Tower of Hera. One thing, WallKicks does have pretty low health here, so this could be, and does not have any safeties on him, so this could be a little bit of a spicy fight. Of course, there's a couple hearts on the way, and he does have the powder, so he has the opportunity to powder the anti-fairy in the upcoming room here for health as well.
Another interesting thing, Spike Cave is in logic, but neither runner wanted to grab Cane of Burna off of the race game.
Huh. Well, they do both have a bottle in hand, so if it comes to that, they're equipped to do it. Freddeh trying to set up a Hera pot here. It looks like he's gonna bail on the boot speed or the hook speed setup and go for the tried and true bomb setup here. Looked like he almost had it that first time. There we go. Got it second time, and WallKicks onto his Mothula fight.
I didn't see what was in the front of Hera.
So we had the big key in basement cage and a map in the map chest, and we have the lamp over there on on Mothula. So that's
because rule of fire,
interesting
right?
Little logical find. Fire locked fire, of course. And yes, several people in chat pointing out the irony of the lamp being attracted to moths.
And Walt still has not done Magic Bat, though it wouldn't surprise me with his inventory if he just flat out does Mire here.
I would, with Silver Arrows, I don't think you even think twice about this, especially with lamp in hand, everything. You've got everything you need for that. Just a green rupee up there on Moldorm, but it is going to be Freddie's first crystal. With WallKicks getting his second out of Skull Woods there a second ago, it is going to be a 2-1 advantage right now for WallKicks, but still very, very early in this one. And WallKicks heading back out, so that can only mean he is going to Mire right now. Freddeh, meanwhile, going to head back across the mountain and pick up Spiral Cave into the Dark Death checks.
Again, Ambrosia can help here with Mire. You get one item, you get the big key, you can go straight to Viddy.
Yeah, and that's one place where I think you could see some time made up if Freddeh has any, doesn't kind of jog the memory on the Ambrosia item rules. Because if you get an early, item plus big key here in Mire, you can short circuit a lot of kind of slow, nasty checks in here.
Yeah, so to recap, WallKicks knows the mirror's on Desert Ledge, but doesn't have the book to get there. Freddeh has the book, but never bothered checking Desert Ledge, even though he flew to 6 at one point.
Yep, so we have come very close to both runners having access to that mirror, but neither one has quite put together all the information on it. Freddeh going to come around here and to go through the Turtle Rock portal up here, and only having one of the 3 medallions right now, but we will see what it is. If he can open it up, he can potentially go pretty far in there without only missing an ice rod to complete it.
Ooh, would you really want to at this point?
Well,
oh, no.
Well, that decision's on the table, and if we're looking to make a big play, that's an opportunity for it. From Freddie's perspective, he's got, an Ice Palace and a Mire that he can go do at any time. He can go back and finish Pod. Of course, neither runner has touched Pendant Eastern yet today, so, there are other options out there if you're looking for something that's, maybe more fun than doing another dungeon that you can't quite clear. On the other hand, maybe we just find the Ice Rod, chilling out here in Hookshot Cave or Super Bunny Cave, and Or
I
we
mean,
could just get nothing up here on the mountain entirely.
Freddie's 3 items from go mode. I mean, he'll need a sword, but there's no way you miss the sword in Ice Palace.
Yeah, he'll definitely get that one. I'd probably soon, honestly. And WallKicks making his way over here to the cutscene chest of.
WallKicks is also 3 items from go mode. Come to think of it, he needs that book though. Is the difference? Whereas Freddie has the book, but needs the mirror knowledge.
Right. There, it's kind of, you can split hairs on the difference between, one item versus one item knowledge away from having mirror. But that's effectively, they're on even ground right now when it comes to that mirror. And we do have a vanilla big key in Mire. And Freddie is, in fact, going into Turtle Rock here. So this is going to be 4 items accessible for him. Most of them are going to be probably pretty late in this dungeon up on Laser Bridge. So.
Oh no. I just realized if something's in Mimic Cave, that could be really bad.
Well, it could be bad, but also Freddie is going to come back through here at some point, unless we find the ice rod here in Turtle Rock. So, at least he'll have an option to come back for it later, if that is the case. But it would be, pretty bad to leave something important there. Certainly one of the pieces of go mode, it would very much delay him getting to it. And if it's the ice rod, then of course that's about the worst that it could be.
I mean, I guess the other really bad situation would be ice rods in TR and the flippers are in Mimic Cave.
Yeah. The one thing though is I think WallKicks is not going to be that far from going up to the mountain and looking for his book up there. Doesn't have a lot calling him back to the village, to either Kakariko or Village of Outcasts at this point. And, now that he has that hookshot in hand, has mitts, that mountain's got to be on his mind. So, Silver Arrow's Viddy fight for WallKicks here. No problem getting the 9 eyes down.
Viddy, what Viddy?
Yeah, exactly. Silver Arrows make that fight nearly trivial. And a heart piece for our second item there in Misery Mire. And crystal number 3 for WallKicks at this point. Meanwhile, I think we've had the somewhat rare 3 small keys plus 1 big key front of TR here, so.
But not
gonna
being
delay the fun items for even longer here. WallKicks is going to come back over here and get pod done. No shame in that. It's going to be an item for him, and it's something you're going to have to do at some point, and it's not really going to get any faster than the item loadout you've got now. So,
Yeah, so the thing about this TR key layout is it's the optimal layout for go moding.
Right. Yeah, you could even skip if you do get to go mode this, you get to even skip Crystal Roller Chest.
Yeah, you steal the Poke Key
and everything else.
Yeah, you steal the Poke Key and then you don't need to open anything else in the dungeon if you're in go mode.
Right.
And pod's a reasonable play for Wally here. I mean, you have to do it sooner or later, and it'll give you an item.
Right. Yeah, so you can't fault the play. You're not, I could see a world where if Eastern was a crystal, you might put this off to try and do it with the mirror, but with Eastern being a pendant, nah. We're not thinking that just yet. Our options have not gotten that bad.
And WallKicks has also gotten all the items out, so he knows that, there's nothing else he needs to find. He'll never touch right side.
Right, yeah, so saving that key from doing the hammer yump there actually working out really nicely for him, and that he doesn't even have to go to right side for one of those small keys.
Still no sign of those flippers.
Yeah, but we're about to get a few checks up here on Laser Bridge, and this is going to be very important to see if this TR gamble gives any benefit over to Freddeh. Bombs there in the first chest.
I mean, the big thing would be if flippers are here and then fire rods and swamp. So this should be an item.
And it is just a red potion. So, really not any progression that we saw from the, 20 plus checks that we cleared up on the mountain there for Freddeh?
Yeah, that is unfortunate.
Not even a sword.
Hype Cave now, which we haven't seen at 45 minutes in.
Yeah, that was, we kind of touched on earlier, a little bit of an interesting route to save quit from Stumpy with Hype Cave being available here, but I don't think we missed too much there for Freddeh. And there's the Ice Rod. Oh, that's very unfortunate. Ice Rod on Helmasaur.
Yeah, not only have the bosses had items, but some of them had some pretty good items.
Yeah. So that'll incentivize WallKicks, I think, even further to get up the mountain, having a couple of medallions in hand and having now a most likely full clearable TR.
And
but
now
it's going to
Freddie's
keep him from that book in that mirror for a little bit longer.
Yeah, now Freddie's going to go back. Looks like this is a pyramid catfish play, so
yeah,
probably not doing pod right away.
Yeah, and we are going to see a check that we did not see on Freddie's side with the old man rescue here from WallKicks. Freddeh, not having that lamp information, chose not to do this check, and we'll see if this leads to anything important here. Really, the only... Oh, there's the bug net.
Moral victory, right?
Yeah. Well, we're still on that first row of hearts. We've got powder, we've got bottles, so it's not the worst thing you've ever seen, but
WallKicks never did turn in that mushroom despite having the flute, did he?
I'm trying to remember. I thought no, I don't know if he did. I don't remember seeing it now that you mention it.
Chat confirming he did not. So, I wonder with 2 rods if WallKicks is going to do Turtle Rock while he's up here. And if he does, suddenly Flippers in Mimic Cave become a big out for Freddeh.
That is true, yeah. In that case, then he would probably have the advantage in getting to that. Freddeh going to come down here, give us Ice Rod Cave, and get some of these checks done that we've seen on WallKicks' side. One other thing that might be in play here with the mountain, with WallKicks being able to clear TR, he will finish up and be back at the entrance of TR, of course, which will set him up for a Spike Cave check that we did not get to see from Freddeh. So that will be a potential, I think, a little bit of an out for, I mean, not an out since he's kind of in the lead in item knowledge right now, but, a bit of an advantage for WallKicks if we get, flippers there. Because that could be a bit until Freddeh actually gets over to that for sure.
I was thinking Freddeh was trying to save his water walk, but no, he just forgot to activate it.
Yeah, I think you have to jump down off the ledge there to actually activate it after it's been armed. And so
he'll get his silvers.
He will get his silvers, and I think he will continue a little more likely having a lot more cash to continue up to Zora and give us our first look at those checks. Boy, if we get flippers on Zora, that would be a thing. TM.
Yeah, quite isolated by WallKicks at this point.
And there's some big money over there on the Zora ledge. Of course, nothing that was going to ever be of interest to us other than potentially our fourth sword. But Zora, what do you have for us today? 20 rupees. Unfortunate.
Life lesson.
He likes those.
Geez, WallKicks is gonna be at 6 crystals before we know it.
Yeah, he has been focusing completely on those crystals, and up here on the mountain, he's going to get 2 more of them here in short order. So, yeah, really the question is, when does he find that book, and when do we find the flippers? And we have our mushroom question answered to the tune of 5 rupees.
Okay, Freddie, come on here.
Here we go. We're gonna get that check. It looks like he was already had his mind made up heading into the desert here, but now he sees that mirror and knows, okay, well, that was available for a hot second, but we're gonna pick it up and, you know, see what's inside Desert Palace here. Meanwhile, WallKicks down to 1 heart here for his Moldorm fight. Have him gonna bust out the cape here. I missed where we picked that up, but that is gonna come in handy for him.
The cape too.
Yeah, and gets a couple of more slashes and a spin in to take down. Oh, cape was in Meyer.
Okay,
correcting us
so,
there.
So if Wally ever checks bumper ledge, he can get tempered.
Yeah. WallKicks knows about the mirror, but does not. He did not check Bumper Cave when he went up to do Skull Woods, and unless we end up in an extended search for for flippers after he finds that, or after he gets his hands on that mirror, I could see it being a while before, you know, WallKicks ever, if he ever gets up to Bumper Ledge to find out about that sword.
Yes, the big chest will have our 1 item that isn't on Landmo.
Yep, and we're going to see Spike Cave here for the first time on WallKicks' side. $20 and $20.
What do you know, like the most common item in the item pool?
If this were hard open, those would have both been heart pieces, but...
Undoubtedly.
Freddie going to come down here, get his mirror, and then have a decision to make on whether he's going to go get that second item off of Landmo here in Pendant Desert, or if he is going to take that and immediately get to work on... oh no!
Hey.
Oh, no.
Hook speed gone awry.
Who amongst us? That's just such a feels bad moment. And if you haven't had it happen to you, I promise you it's coming someday. But, you know, just an extra jaunt through Desert Palace here never feels good. Meanwhile, WallKicks making his way over to activate his TR portal, gonna open it up with his Bombus Medallion, and we'll see if he chooses to head straight in there or if he decides to do some of the other overworld checks first. But and Freddie setting up the straight line dash here, gets the mirror this time, no issues. Couple of slashes there to share how he's feeling.
And yeah, this is the Meyer play. We will see Checkerboard Cave presumably as part of this.
Yeah, and I imagine whenever WallKicks does pick up that mirror, if he's still looking for stuff, that'll be one of the first checks that he does. But you know, Freddie gonna go into Meyer here first, get his 2 items down. Of course, he has silver arrows, so you know, even though he has the fighter sword disadvantage, not going to be a real big issue for him versus WallKicks clear of this dungeon either.
And by the way, this is my favorite track from the Ace Attorney MSU. It's just so catchy.
there's a lot of good catchy ones, and Freddeh using the Final Fantasy VIII MSU, as he is often known to do, is an excellent pack as well. One of my favorites.
Yes, Freddeh is actually quite the Final Fantasy player. He was runner-up in the Final Fantasy V Rando tournament this year.
And I believe he also has some background, I want to say, in Final Fantasy XII speedrunning, where he is a pretty well-known member of the community there. So he is a multi-talented gamer, to be sure, as is WallKicks as well, if you've ever seen him excel at Wind Waker Rando.
I didn't even know he was a Wind Waker player.
He's been known to dabble. So, like we mentioned earlier, this Turtle Rock clear for WallKicks, we got the nice key layout, but he's not going to be in any position to take advantage of it with regards to, skipping any checks in here. But we will get our first look at the item on Trinex that could be a little bit later for Freddeh to get back to. Obviously, he's going to get to Pod sooner than later and get that Ice Rod, but still could be a while before we see TR for one item be kind of the play in his shoes.
And with Freddeh not having Master Sword yet, I think probably, since he's going to get the cape in here, his next move is going to be to combo Bumper Cave, Graveyard Ledge, and Mothula.
Oh, that's a very good point. Yeah, with that sword knowledge, and now with the cape in hand after he leaves here, that'll be a great incentive to go up and get your Master Sword and get another dungeon clear done. Get the question in chat. What happened to Freddeh? And I wouldn't say anything really happened to him. He made kind of more of a choice to focus on overworld density with some of his checks, whereas WallKicks has routed in such a way that he's been kind of always in clearing dungeons. There's been a little bit of an advantage for WallKicks in that he has saved time in a couple of dungeons by remembering the item on the boss rule for Ambrosia. But other than that, it's just kind of been their paths diverged pretty early. And then, now the question is going to be, where does WallKicks go with some of the kind of scatter checks that he has left versus Freddeh, who's going to be probably in dungeon clearing mode for a good while here. And he's going to pick up his Ice Rod as well on the way. And it's just going to be a question of, really kind of where are those flippers? That's the big question that looms large here. The other big question is, when is WallKicks going to make his way over to Magic Bat and get that book that he knows is required for the mirror?
I just realized, once again, Freddeh still hasn't figured out about Ambrosia. Yeah, because as soon as he got that cape, he already had the big key. He should have gone straight to Viddy.
Yeah, so, and I'm sure that's just a in the moment, one of the things with this tournament is that you find out the mode that you are playing 5 minutes before you race. And so that does not give you a lot of time to kind of, necessarily game plan and remember, all of your kind of routing tips and tricks for each mode and kind of the differences that each of them have. Like, only one mode would you really want to track compasses, but you have to remember, if you're playing that one mode, that is important information. So similar things like that exist, and the Ambrosia rule is definitely one of those that has tripped up many a runner in this tournament. But it's not, certainly a death knell by any stretch. It's just going to be a few extra checks, and hopefully nothing that is too inefficient or swings the race.
We got a menu boss here with Trinex.
Yep, gonna get through 5 hammer hits on each head. Nicely done there on the fire head.
Yeah, ice, since the initial fire rod hit actually damages it, you can often get away with just like fire rod hits and Master Sword slashes.
Yep, and that's exactly what WallKicks chose to do, not even switching back to the hammer there for the ice head. Taking it down, and just is going to switch back to the hammer here, which helps a lot, and making very nice work of that phase 2 as Freddeh making nice work of his phase 1 on Moldworm, or on Vitreous rather, and we're going to see simultaneous crystal grabs from our 2 runners here.
Or junk items.
For junk items. That is number 6 for WallKicks and number 2 for Freddeh. But again, we talked about that disparity earlier. Freddeh is going to be, I think, much more incentivized to kind of be focusing on dungeons. You know, Ice Palace has been looming for him for a while. You know, he's got Pod that he can go back and clear at any time here. Skull Woods that is just a very quick trip to the boss. Turtle Rock is going to be the little bit lengthier one to get back to, because he is going to have to go through the whole dungeon there. But, you know, it all kind of comes down to, when does WallKicks find that book, and when do we find the flippers? And the answer is not going to be in Checkerboard Cave, but it could be in Agena. Actually, we saw this early from WallKicks, because that was when he got the information, right? On Mirror. I don't remember what we...
Yeah. I think it was just
sure.
junk.
Okay. Just a heart container in there.
And while these runners retrace each other's steps, why not give them a follow? You know, we've been talking about, you know, how these are both really good multi-talented runners. You want to give them a follow.
Yeah, for sure. So Freddeh gonna head into the Dark World here through the village portal. That's gonna be, like you kind of speculated earlier, I think that's gonna be our play for Master Sword from Bumper Cave, and probably get the check of Graveyard Ledge as well here before coming back and finishing Skull Woods. Or I could be completely wrong, and we will go straight to Skull Woods first. Or I could be wrong twice, and we could just be shortcutting through Skull Woods to get over to the thing that I said originally.
Interesting route. I can see wanting to have the Master Sword for Moth.
So Freddeh going to pick up his Master Sword here from a different location than WallKicks, and WallKicks going to flute over here to 4, and did not even pay attention to this, but he is going to do Pyramid Fairy, having completed Skull Woods and Turtle Rock, our 2 red crystals today. Freddeh, now equipped with a blue sword, is going to head over here, and we're going to see Graveyard Ledge from him. This is new information for us as well. Pair of new checks from our runners here. Either of these going to be flippers. That is a no for Graveyard Ledge, and for Pyramid Fairy. Oh no, we get a completely useless Quake Medallion.
And WallKicks did not want to follow that up to Catfish. I'm a little bit surprised there.
Well, he did it earlier. He did the Pyramid Catfish route.
Oh, I remember him doing Pyramid.
When he came into Dark World.
Okay. Yeah, I remembered the Pyramid check. I didn't remember Catfish.
Yep. So now we're going to see WallKicks head back into Dark World here. I think this is going to be Stumpy Dig Game, because I think that's all that he has left to do in this direction right now without the mirror. And we're going to see Freddeh head back here for Mothula.
Well, then he may well pick up the Smith.
That's true. So if he picks up the Smith after doing Dig Game here...
Alternatively, back of Thieves Town.
That's what I was about to say. Yeah, the other route there, the other option there is that you could be thinking about those 2 items in the back of Thieves Town and that green pendant. WallKicks also does not know anything about the pedestal yet, and he knows that two of the three crystals, or two of the three pendants, rather, are completable, and he knows that that book will unlock the third for him. So, that could be, maybe something that factors into his decision making. We've seen him stay away from pendants so far, other than just the early dip into thieves. But, it'll be interesting to see what he chooses. Freddeh choosing to hammer Mothula there in the corner, actually get some nice hits in, gets his lamp.
Yeah, it was just... Oh, sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say, it's just going to be a little bit of a, thanks game right after you do Dark Mire, but...
Yeah, it was just funny because he got 3 quick hammer hits in, and then Moth kept dodging.
Yep. And so that's Crystal 3 for Freddeh. Gonna see the flute come out here.
What's this gonna be? 5, 8?
Looks like we're gonna head over to Pod and get our Ice Rod off of Helmasaur here.
So slowly evening up the crystal count, but WallKicks has the Smith. He's gonna do Magic Bat when he turns in the Smith, so that'll be his book. And
so
that's
that'll
big.
be book and mirror for him. And then the question will be, where do the flippers show up? And it needs to be somewhere that Freddeh, I think, can get to kind of significantly earlier than WallKicks, and I'm not sure there are a lot of such locations left for him.
I mean, Mimic Cave would be the big one.
Mimic Cave, I think, would be the biggest, clearest out for him, because he's more likely to make it up to TR on a return trip than WallKicks would be, given that Freddeh has to do it at some point for that crystal.
And we still haven't seen stuff like Cave 45 or Bombos Tablet for mirror checks.
Or Eastern Palace.
Good thing Zelda Discon isn't in this race.
Yeah, Ether Tablet was checked by Freddeh when he was up on the mountain, and it was just 20 rupees, I think. But yeah, that Bombos Tablet definitely still looming large there.
Now what's interesting here is WallKicks running out of locations could well do Landmos here.
That's true, but that mirror is also going to open up, several other checks for him, so... Well, maybe not several. It's actually not that many, since we've seen several of the ones up on the mountain and know that they're duds.
And given the item placement in here, he is going to do the entire front of Desert before he picks up his mirror.
Yep. Meanwhile, Freddeh at least getting to use that lamp for one of the fun dark rooms today.
And slowly closing in on the crystal count. Now it'll be 6-4, which is a lot better than the 6-1 that I think it was at some point.
Right. Now, one thing that's going to be interesting here, so Freddie's going to get his Ice Rod and be flippers for Go mode. That's going to eliminate Ice Palace as a place that he needs to do checks, which is good for him in that he can save time, and bad for him in that it could lead to him missing that sword in Compass Chest.
Not too happy about that Ice Rod.
Yeah, no, you're never gonna be real thrilled to see the Ice Rod show up after you've done an empty TR dip. And especially when it's in a place that's, on the way enough that your opponent very well could have grabbed it before getting into TR.
By the way, I like WallKick's routing of Desert better here. He knew where the mirror was, so he's like, if I'm going to go over to right side and maybe not get anything and have to go back to the big chest, it's probably going to be faster to get the mirror first and then I can mirror out of right side.
Yeah, you get a couple extra trips through those first couple screens from the left side, so I don't I think it probably is not like drastically different, but it does, it is a nice feeling whenever you get to just desert is a much more pleasant place to route the front of when you have the mirror in hand. And Freddie going to give us Bombo's tablet here. This will be an interesting spot for him, I think.
And here's checkerboard for WallKicks.
And yeah, unless he's planning to, hop back in his portal after checkerboard cave, we're not going to see Landmo here from WallKicks, and just another 20 rupees on Bombo's tablet.
Freddie going back. I wonder if this is Cave 45 and Smith Chain.
Yeah, I think that would be... Yeah, I think that's the play here.
As good as anything. You certainly are in no rush to go back and finish TR.
Right.
And he knows that flippers can't be in ice.
And WallKicks is going to give us the play to Landmo here. So this will be our first pendant collection of the race. And our first information on what the second item is here in Desert. Over at Cave 45, this is our first time seeing that, and that is our first male upgrade of the seed.
Starting to think it was interesting we were more than an hour in and hadn't seen any mail.
Yeah, well, we have now. We've got a blue Ori running around on Freddie's side, but unfortunately not the shade of blue that Freddie is hoping for right now. And so, yeah, this is going to be Smith Chain for Freddie, but we are going to see Purple Chest from him here, which was not, given the location of that book earlier, was not an easy cleanup check for WallKicks earlier. I don't think we've seen Hammer Pegs yet either.
We have not.
Which is interesting since we got Mitts and Hammer very, very early.
And Landmo, just a piece of heart. And Hammer Peg's just a piece of heart.
Yeah, well. So we're going to see the Smith turned in here, but then probably Purple Chest from Freddie, which will be a new check for us. And where is WallKicks heading off to? We are fluting to 3. Could this be another pendant? Could this be a ped check? Yeah, it looks like we're heading south, so we're either heading into Thieves Town or we're finishing up Smith Chain and Hammer Pegs here. Or we're coming up here to Bumper and gonna get Tippered Sword for WallKicks.
Oh, and it looks like Freddie might be thinking back of Thieves. Yeah, he's saving the portal here so he can flute.
Yep, nope, that makes sense. Okay.
So that'll be his next play if flippers aren't in Purple Chest.
Yep, so we'll see Purple Chest, and then it looks like he's going to head into Thieves Town. And then WallKicks going to make his way through the North Dark World checks. See that shield there on Lumberjack Ledge, and we're going to see yet another red rupee from the Purple Chest.
Oh, and Freddie's also going to get his bug net while he's fluting around the world.
Yep. Never feels good when you're putting off something like this that you could have done after a Sphere 1 check with it, being out of logic. But Freddie, I think maybe going to be a little relieved not to see the flippers here on Old Man, but it's still, I think he's probably going to take this up into Spike Cave here. Maybe we get the TR play now, but
WallKicks turned down the Tempered Sword. I was a bit surprised by that just because.
I'm very surprised there.
It can save a lot on Ganon.
Yeah, no. Even with silvers in hand, I think you want that for. It's going to speed up your Argus fight considerably. It's going to make your tower, your gauntlet climb a lot easier. I think that's something you probably worth the time for a trip through Bumper.
Oh, and here's Freddie's Spike Cave play.
Unless WallKicks was just going to make a second trip for it, I'm not sure.
I don't know, a bit surprising they jumped off that ledge. No, he's going for Thieves.
Yeah, okay. That'll be one for the interview later. But it looks like we're skipping thieves for now. We're going to get that purple chest and hammer pegs play as Freddie gets his 20 rupees there out of Spike Cave. Going to just go ahead and take the death warp to save and quit effectively.
Save the portal. That's a portal save play.
Okay. Okay, yeah. Makes sense. Yep. So yeah, now he's going to cash in that portal from earlier. There you go. Okay.
Yeah, for those of you who might not be familiar, since this can't really happen in the vanilla game, if you have the mirror but haven't beaten Aga 2, if you save and quit in the Dark World, you lose your mirror portal when you respawn in the Light World. But if you take a death in the Dark World, you retain your mirror portal when you respawn in the Light World.
So WallKicks gonna dash away from his purple chest there, as long as he mirrors on the screen with the chest picking or the lock picking man. He will still be able to turn it in magically, as Freddie is gonna make his way to the Thieves Town attic here, and we'll get our first look at the back of Thieves. And WallKicks, remembering that Bombo's tablet is a thing that exists, ducks the bird and gets back into his portal, as we see our third item out of Thieves Town, the shovel.
Final fetch quest of the game.
Yep, and again, we'll see, obviously if it's just, a map or compass in the blind cell chest here, it's not going to be really a big deal, but again, we have that information that the fourth item here in Thieves Town is on the boss, so theoretically we can skip everything. And it looks like we're going to get our divergence here. WallKicks heading to the other pendant that we have not seen yet. Also 3 items over here at Eastern Palace.
And unfortunately, I think Freddie still won't have remembered the rule about Ambrosia, and we're going to see the big chest open for a dungeon item.
Yeah, but good news is that there's no small key there, so he's going to at least skip the...
True.
He's going to skip the big chest, whether he wants to or not. So now we have a shovel to follow up on and a green pendant to follow up on as a result of this Thieves Town play. Assuming that we don't find the flippers here on blind.
The green pendant will probably lead Freddie into Eastern after that.
I would think so. That would be a pretty logical play.
Wow, all the dungeon items up front in Eastern today.
And there are the flippers on blind. So Freddie now in go mode here at 116.40. While WallKicks is now going to be going through Eastern Palace looking for those flippers, but not finding them here.
So, yeah, this is spicy. Freddie in go mode, but with a 2 crystal deficit. So, can he make up those 2 crystals before WallKicks hits go mode?
Right, and he's got, Ice Palace will be a pretty quick clear for him, assuming that he does it in go mode. Swamp will be a reasonably quick clear, but WallKicks will have the exact same go mode swamp. The difference and the difference in the time for the 2 runners right now is going to be how long does it take, Freddie to get all the way back through TR and complete it, versus how long does it take WallKicks to get over to Thieves Town and get through that dungeon and find the flippers. And I'm not sure what all WallKicks has left other than Mimic Cave at this point. So...
yeah, he's really done everything.
Yeah, so I think Thieves Town is going to be easily the most appealing option to him. It's just going to be a question of, how much time is that going to take for him to get through Thieves Town versus how much time is it going to take for Freddeh to do the kind of difference here, which is an Ice Palace go mode clear and a trip back to Trinex and a kill there.
And if Freddeh happens to do some extra checks and picks up the Tempered Sword, that could also make a difference.
Right. I expect him to do kind of the on-the-way checks here in Swamp and in Ice Palace, but I don't think, we'll see. We'll kind of get an idea from this Swamp play on how thorough versus how aggressive he's going to be, but I would be surprised to see him get that sword out of Pingator Room in Ice Palace.
When P-Train versus Tato earlier, earlier today, they were both in Go mode and Swamp, but didn't have silvers, and P-Train didn't even open the flooded chests. Tato did, and silvers were in there.
Wow.
Didn't make a difference in the end, but it was just interesting that P-Train was so Go-moding it that he didn't even open the flooded chests.
Right. We did see Freddeh skip the map chest on the way in here, so that gives me an idea that again, that compass chest in Ice Palace probably, an equivalently slow check, if not even slower, probably going to be one that's on the skip list for Freddeh. And big key and another red rupee there in the flooded chest room.
And just to recap where we're at in the tournament, the winner of this match will face Andy in a best of 3, and the winner of that series will face Eriror, who played a very early round of 16 series against Matt 7898 this past weekend and swept him.
Boy, you just named a whole bunch of gamers there.
Yeah, a lot of scary people in this tournament.
Yeah, who knew? Trying to handicap the race right now, I would say WallKicks does feel ahead here by maybe a couple of minutes. That extra trip through TR is really going to be kind of the question here. But Freddeh will be able to zoom through it in theory. It's just going to be a question of how much time can he save reasonably doing a go mode Ice Palace here. Versus, WallKicks only having to do just the swamp play and a mountain climb here. And unfortunately, this fight getting a little bit away from Freddeh here in Phase 2 on Argus.
I was a bit
gets the silver arrow.
Yeah, I was a bit surprised he was trying Fire Rod first rather than just going straight for silvers.
Yeah, I think a lot of people have comfort with that strat of kind of, pinning him down on the wall there with either Fire Rod or Ice Rod and have their preferences. But if you have the timing... If you have a setup that works for you, that silver arrow is, in my opinion, the more reliable way to go. And WallKicks head into this blind fight, and if this top 32 gamer can survive this fight, he is going to get rewarded with his go mode flippers as well.
And he'll still have his crystal advantage.
He will.
But it is impressive that it's narrowed from 6-1 to 6-5,
Yeah, that was... Freddeh had a lot of kind of quick dungeons to do. He got the knowledge that Ice Palace was go-modable for him very early, and WallKicks gonna just save and quit out of there, not even wait for the cutscene and the refill from Blind, gonna get on his way. We'll see here if Freddeh chooses to open this first chest. Obviously, he does not know that it is going to be a sword for him, but we do, and if he does pick that up, that will be an interesting advantage for him. But nope, we're gonna go in and right back out and make our way through this dungeon. And Freddeh is, being in go mode here, gonna go back and hit the switch here so that he doesn't have to hunt that big key.
We were saying the same thing.
Even though I think it was on the way in this case, but of course Freddeh doesn't want that, that 1 in 6 chance of it being an iced tea or something stupid like that, and then you've spent longer go-moding Ice Palace than you would have full clearing it.
So yeah, but for the fact that Freddie's gonna have to go back through TR, this race would be pretty tight.
Yeah, definitely. The go mode Ice Palace and the go mode swamp are going to be pretty close in terms of how long they take here.
And also, Freddeh will have a little advantage on Cold Stir that WallKicks didn't. He has Fire Rod.
That is true. So yeah, we'll have a potential for a cleaner Cold Stir fight here. WallKicks, of course, going to have the same loadout here for Argus, but a little bit of potential there in phase 2 to make up some time on that fight as well.
Again, puzzled he didn't pick up Tempered when he saw it.
That's still an interesting decision to me, but we'll see. There's a very real possibility we just find another sword in GT on the way, and he looks like the smart one here, but wouldn't be the first time that he's made me look like a fool.
Okay, so yeah, Freddie's definitely planning on the Fire Rod strat, trying to conserve his magic.
Yep, starting that Bombos animation and then switching over to Fire Rod. Gonna get that spin, get him up there into the left corner where you can get lots of splash damage, and then...
Very nice.
Very, very well done. Got lots of double hits in there, and a very quick fight for his very useless Ether Medallion. And
so,
that is... just like that, we're tied up at Crystal, 6-6.
Very briefly tied in the Crystal count.
Yep. WallKicks, of course, just has a couple more rooms to run through here to get to his Argus fight, whereas Freddeh is going to have many more rooms of Turtle Rock to run through and platform through, etc., to get to Trinex. So WallKicks going to have a couple minutes advantage here into GT, but we're still, I think we're within the realm of routing, playing a role in this one, and. Freddeh.
Nice.
Okay, good.
Work on the dead rocks. Learned his lesson.
Getting the triple hook shot there in to make sure that his path was not going to get blocked tonight. Nope, this one's too important. We're in a hurry here. And this is maybe the one moment of any where WallKicks is going to really wish, think, man, it doesn't take that long to go through Bumper Cave. Why'd I leave that Tempered Sword there? And there is the quick phase 2 kill for WallKicks. That'll be crystal number 7 for him. So we will go off of him for counting where we are finding that big key in Ganon's Tower. Meanwhile, Freddeh making his way into TR right now. And
we do have a way for you to waste your channel points.
All right.
What are you thinking, Will?
You know what? You know what number doesn't get enough love? It's number 11. So I'm going to say 11 tonight.
I think I'm going to go with 14.
Let's put our money where our mouth is here. There we go.
And then it'll turn out to be 1 or something like that.
I've never been wrong before. Don't you dare suggest that now is going to be the first time.
We had a race earlier today. The big key was in Hope Room, and one player decided to do the rando rush. Again, it didn't wind up making a difference in the race, but...
Yeah, GT routing is a real thing, and so, even though WallKicks is going to be in there a couple minutes ahead, this is not over by any stretch.
So, again, if WallKicks does win by, say, a minute, his overall better routing of the dungeons because he remembered the rules of Ambrosia may be the difference.
That would play a difference, but also, getting to single dip TR is going to loom real big.
Absolutely.
Putting off that mountain for as long as he could there, and getting that ice rod off of Helmasaur, choosing to go back and clear that dungeon for 1 item, that really paid out for him big.
Yeah, so what do we think? WallKicks has about a minute and a half advantage here.
Yeah, that feels about right here. We'll see. He's going to get GT entry just a shade past 128 here. And so we'll be able to kind of compare when Freddeh does his GT entrance and see exactly what the margin is. As he is walking into his Trinex fight right now. WallKicks is going Hope Room first. First chest, Heart Container. Second chest, Compass.
No small key has to go left.
We will go left.
Seeing very similar Trinex strats from Freddeh to what WallKicks did.
Yep, lots of, the careful 5 hits there on the first head, and then lots of Fire Rod and lots of Master Sword slashes on the second.
And of course, given this routing by WallKicks, Freddie's big out is if he grabs that small key, then goes right, and but no, the big key was right there in Stalfos room. That was check number 4.
Yeah, gets a bonus small key. Does do a couple extra checks, I think, hoping for that sword, but not going to get it there. WallKick's going to start his climb here at 129.05. Freddeh going to make it over there to GT, probably open it up about, I would say, minute 45 or so, maybe between that and 2 minutes behind WallKicks, and we'll see, what direction he goes there. Obviously, he's going to get funneled to that big key either as check number 2 or check number 4, unless he does something really wacky.
And congratulations to Torsui, who was the only person in chat to guess it exactly.
WallKick starting his climb here. Freddeh gonna be going in here at what? Almost exactly 2 minutes behind, it looks like. Slowly making his way through first room of Gauntlet there. Getting a nice double hit there with the splash damage from the Fire Rod to make his way through G2 nice and clean. More good work from it there in the third room. And now taking advantage of the spikes. Really clean climb so far from WallKicks, no surprise here. And nice one cycle Landmo as Freddeh picks up his big key here.
Also checking the room. I wonder if now they're looking for the 4th sword, and that's why they both cleared out the room.
Yeah, I think they're definitely looking for that sword. Of course, Freddeh doesn't know, for all he knows, there's 2 swords still lurking out there. Of course, he doesn't know that he ran past one of them in Ice Palace in Go mode. But for WallKicks, he's hoping that last sword's here to kind of be the quicker version of that bumper cave check that he didn't do. And gonna do the left chest, but not the right one, because that one takes way too long. And just gonna get a heart piece there.
I'll just powder out for the anti-fairy here.
I don't think that was an intentional check, but since we got knocked into the spot, we're gonna check it anyway.
Will he check Moldorm's last possession? Ooh! That's another way Freddeh can catch up.
Yeah, just a few thousand Moldorm falls. No, it's not 1,000.
I mean, one big Ganon fall could do it,
Yeah, Ganon fall much more punishing than the Moldorm fall, for sure. And with Master Sword, nothing is guaranteed. We did have this very similar fight in Game 2 with both of the runners, and some execution differences there. Ended up kind of providing the margin, or flipping the margin there at the end. And it looks like we're going to have another Master Sword Silverless fight for Ganon from both of these runners here.
But yeah, if this lead holds, it'll be very interesting that, Freddeh had a comfortable win in game one, and then WallKicks will have two one extremely narrow win and one fairly narrow win.
Yeah. Of course, he still has to execute his way through both an Aga2 fight and a Ganon fight here, as Freddeh is already up to torches.
Oh, actually, Freddie's game one win was a lot closer than I thought. He only won that by a minute 23. I had misremembered it as being more comfortable.
Yeah, I thought that one was a relatively close one, but yeah, this is a pretty good Aga2 fight for Wally here. Looks like he's going to get the 4-cycle, and Freddeh is going to make his way up here. We'll see if he is going to check this other chest over here for an extra heart container, but no tempered sword for Freddeh either. And WallKicks going to be dropping into Ganon, so we'll see what kind of fight he has today here. Of course, we have to do Master Sword spins here. We have to do 12 of them in Phase 1, 12 in Phase 2, 4 in Phase 3, and then we will need to do a couple at least in Phase 4 to stun him and then hit him with silver arrows, which we are well stocked for both runners.
And WallKicks either doesn't know or doesn't want to use the Samaria strats that prevent your recoil and allow you to get in more hits per cycle.
Yeah, it is not an easy strat to pull off, and if you haven't practiced it, it's certainly not one you want to be doing on the fly here.
Certainly not.
Yeah, making good use of the cape here to get spins in here at some of these kind of not so lovely patterns that we're getting from Aga for this fight. It does have that blue mail, and we're going to see him busted out here. So no worries about the low health here, but Freddeh already threw Aga2, so we are going to see both runners here in Ganon together.
Okay, so they both got a 4-cycle Aga2, so neither of them changed the lead in that.
Right. But yeah, now we're at the point where you kind of mentioned it earlier, but a Ganon fall at this point would for certain change the lead of this race.
Absolutely. And that's the thing, again, about, neither of them got the Tempered Sword.
Yep. So WallKicks on to Phase 4 here, going to get a couple quick hits in there with silver arrows. Get him up in the top right, stick one in him here, bring him down to the bottom left position, and get the 4th silver arrow hit in on Ganon. WallKicks, once he crosses the bridge here, is going to be the winner of tonight's race, advance on to the round of 16, advance on to face Andy here. Freddeh going to come up just a little bit short here, going to be eliminated from the tournament, but going to finish this one out as well. So get your GGs in chat for WallKicks. Finishing with an official race time of 1:36.19.
Either way, it's also good to remember both of these runners, have definitely upped their game. I was looking in 2019, both of them got swept out of groups. So that they're both here in the top 32 to begin with is pretty impressive.
I mean, both of these guys have been around the community for quite a while, and, both of them, I think, WallKicks may be a more recognized name than Freddeh in this community. I think, in part... but I've gotten to know Freddeh pretty well through another kind of smaller community within the great rando community that we have, and he is an amazing dude and has certainly put in a hell of an effort to even honestly to be able to play tonight. Been just dealing with a little bit of real life stuff, a little bit of health issues. Hell of an effort to come in here tonight, put together a competitive race, despite not really being able to play the game for the past week plus, and
Does take slightly longer here on phase 4 because he didn't get the torch glitch and had to two-cycle the torches, but get your GGs in for Freddeh. Looks like it'll be another finish within 2 minutes, so all 3 games of these series decided by less than 2 minutes.
Yeah, if we could extend this one to a game or to a best of 5, I'd be down for it, but I don't think the admins are going to let us, given that we're already a little behind schedule. Freddeh finishing officially with a time of 1:38.12. And that is it for this race. Both runners have completed it. Get your GGs in chat for Freddeh as well.
And we are joined by WallKicks with Freddeh in the waiting room, and here's Freddeh. So GG's both of you guys. That was quite a race.
Yeah, GG's.
GG's, dude.
Ugh.
You put up a hell of an effort, man. I gotta give it to you.
I didn't realize until I freaking was listening to let's see, at the end, all 3 of ours were within 2 minutes.
Yeah.
Only the 7th second. This is definitely a good race. Good races, fun races.
Oh, heck yeah.
I know we didn't get the modes you liked, so I'll count that as a handicap in my direction. But...
I mean, you play with the cards dealt because, literally they're cards. Haha. Okay, I'm done.
Got him.
Hey, did you guys know that if you want to play a mode you like, the Cross Keys tournament is coming up real soon?
Tell me more. I'm not an admin for that tournament or anything.
No, definitely not. Yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to that one myself. So.
Oh, heck yes.
Getting a chance to heal up and get ready for that one, I'll take that instead of getting my butt stomped by Andy. But you can do it. You got this.
I believe in myself. I got to get at least one keys mode, right? Like, my last 4 races have been all non-keys. I think I'm.
If not, you guys can always bring back the cross keys spoiler grudge matches. I enjoyed those.
He
back in the
beats
day.
me. He beats me. It's okay.
Well,
it's okay.
He beats a lot of people, buddy.
Oh shoot, Andy's even here.
But the seed was fine until I needed to find those effing flippers.
Yeah, no, everything was on the way. Not that I found them on the way, since I did a lot of skipping around and doing things I shouldn't have, like not doing pod.
Yeah.
That was honestly, I haven't been able to play since our last race. Literally, like this is the first time I've been able to sit in my office chair, basically. So, I might have actually done that if I was feeling more confident in my warm up, and I probably honestly could have done it. I just didn't really want to fighter sword hammer. Helmet.
That's reasonable.
Yeah.
Actually, speaking of weaponry, that reminded me of a question we had for WallKicks. You turned down the tempered sword there on Bumper Ledge.
Yeah, I didn't think I'd be playing for that much longer.
I mean, you still had Argus and Ganon at a minimum.
Yeah, didn't think I'd be playing for that much longer.
Yeah.
I see what you're saying there. Yeah.
I'm like, this is gonna be a little bit out of the way. I'm like, I probably gain it back on the Ganon fight and maybe like up on the climb, but like, I'm so close to go mode at that point.
Yeah,
and
then
then
you go mode into Ice Palace and just was checking stuff for sword.
No, Ice Palace was my first dungeon.
Oh, you rushed Flippilla's Ice Palace.
I rushed Ice.
I thought about it, but I'm like, I don't have the bow yet, so I'm like, there's no reason to do it. By the time I got to the point where I was thinking of going to Ice Palace, I'm like Ice Rod and Flippers from Go mode. It's fine.
Yeah, like,
then you got the Ice Rod.
Yeah, don't remind me.
Wow.
And then I got the Ice Rod, and it was like, well, there's no reason to do Ice now. So
yeah, like I rushed Pod after getting Darkwood access because I wanted the bow, or not the bow, the boots. And immediately it was like, this is a mistake. I don't have any way to do mimics if this is bow lock because I'm too lazy to learn how to mimic clip. And I'm like, well, we're here, so let's hope for the best. I
got the early flute and got 300 to get money out of the chicken hunt, I think it was, which bailed me. I'm like, I don't have enough money to get a potion, so I can potion glitch into the right side. So I sure hope that I get some money. And I get the 300. Like, okay, perfect. I can buy a bottle.
Yeah,
because there's a bottle.
It was kind of funny for us having, being able to watch, because Freddeh was a few seconds earlier into pod, but due to the routing, Freddeh doing right side, doing a couple, doing the extra check on the big key chests for the map that.
Yeah, I didn't want to do that, but I knew I had to.
Yeah.
Well, if that was the ice rod, I was set. If it was,
Ambrosia.
I lost to 50-50. It's this fucking... Sorry.
Ambrosia, Helmet King had to have the last item.
Ambrosia, if it's not a 50-50, it's not a standard open mode. Let's go. No, I kid. I should have gone back and done Helma. That's my fault.
But yeah, the kind of the big intrigue of this race was knowing about that mirror for a very long time from WallKicks, and knowing that Freddeh had the book for almost exactly that same amount of time, and the just tantalizing wait for either one of you to get the second piece of that puzzle put together.
I kept going into places and being like, oh shoot, I forgot to check desert. I should do that. I did that like 2 or 3 times, and I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna do it now. And then like, God, that's the freaking mirror, of course it is.
When you went to Meyer and still didn't check.
Yeah, that was the part especially. I was like, oh, I never checked that. The mountain has a lot of stuff. It's fine.
And it was all
not a
worthless.
Good idea. Yeah, no, it was. Oh man, there was so much junk up the mountain. There wasn't even a sword. There's like no key items. Like not
it's crazy to think a God Rider of the Seed probably sub 110s this.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah, that's I think an entirely reasonable time.
If you just say screw it to the mountain, you just 110 this, yeah, and then don't skip the back of Green Pendant Thieves Down.
That too.
I was gonna say if you don't get the boots hint, you maybe even get an even faster route on this one because you just single dip pod, but you still do it pretty early.
Yeah.
And
I'm just realizing Thieves Town was so loaded because you guys got the fire rod and the bow out of the front.
That was my silvers actually, but yeah, and that's why I left. I'm like, I had 2 really good items. I'm like, all right, cool. Don't need anything else.
Like half of our items were just sitting in Thieves Town and pod, yeah. There's ice rod, boots, and mitts in pod, and then fire rod, hook, and flippers in Thieves Town. It's crazy.
Hook was Skullwoods, but nearby.
Oh right, hook was Skullwoods, yeah.
Yeah, definitely some clusters on the items in this one, and the entirety of Death Mountain being garbage, and watching both of you guys full clear it was just like, well, okay.
We sure did.
Yeah.
There's a lot of items on bosses too, wasn't there?
Oh yeah, that was also a thing.
That's Ambrosia. It has to be.
Oh right, it's Ambrosia.
Ready, please.
Check the big key chest. Is this what happens if I don't play for a week and a half?
Or the extra chests.
I haven't even watching anything.
The extra chests in Meyer too. Like WallKicks got the cape. Okay, that's one item. Go straight to Fiddy. You got the cape, and they're still right side.
Okay,
You
have
a very
there have been a million.
I have a really good excuse. You're just gonna have to trust.
Yeah. No, we understand. It was just kind of funny to see.
The 1.5 million times that I played an Ambrosia Seed and done the same thing, and I didn't have a 1.5 week break of like not even like looking at the game to remind me. I think we can allow a little bit of grace in this circumstance.
Yeah, I remembered it the other few times I played this tournament. I just forgot this time.
Yeah, GG's, dude. Heck of a tournament, man.
Yeah, so kind of wrapping things up here. Freddeh, obviously, this is the end of the road for you in this tournament. Top 32 run. Drossi did the homework earlier. This matches your deepest run in a tournament, going all the way back to the big ole 512 boy 2018 tournament. Kind of sum things up for us. How's this run been for you? How you feeling? What's up? What's next for you?
Not like I was saying, I was talking to WallKicks before. I was honestly 7 seconds from top 16 in a main tournament is a bit above my expectations. Especially for how little I get the chance to practice nowadays. So I'm happy with where I'm at, and looking forward to the Cross Keys tournament coming up. Looking forward to hopefully another spoiler tournament coming up. Or I guess the SG Live is spoiler open, like the online version. So I'm probably going to practice a lot for that. We'll see how that goes.
And hey, that's only a little over 3 months away because all the tournaments are right on top of each other these days in ALTTPR land.
These days, I feel like I've been doing this for like 5 years, and they just always
there is never not
other.
a tournament going on.
Shoutouts to my spoiler gamers.
And as for I'm like, this tournament's almost over, and it'll be done. And then it starts. It's like I've just accepted that it's a tournament.
Yeah.
And
You're not the first
WallKicks.
runner, and you won't be the last to have that issue. But yeah, WallKicks, Sweet 16 gaming. This is uncharted territory for you.
Yeah.
Obviously, top 32 last year, but now you got a familiar face, but certainly a tough opponent coming up for round number 3 here. What's your strategy looking forward to the next round against Andy?
Give me a keys mode, please. Not to say that like he's bad at keys. I want to play a keys mode.
I mean,
that's
I believe you and Andy have something in common. You've both been runners-up in the cross keys tournament in different years, so you both like keys.
Yeah, I mean, I just want to play keys because I think it's just a little bit better than modes like Ambrosia. I mean, not to say Ambrosia is bad. It's just I prefer keys modes. As for racing Andy, looking forward to it. If I get past Andy, it's airy. So looking for, road doesn't get any easier.
It sure
does. It was definitely a rough road looking at it. I'm like, I can see how this bracket's going to line up, and it's sure going to be a fun run.
This quartet was incredibly deadly because like you also had Matt and Illis in there on at some point in the brackets. Like, this was just a nasty group of 16.
Yep.
I'd
like to give kudos to that one guy that did a prediction of having me beating you and then Andy and then Eric. And then I think somebody else to then lose to Zelga in the finals. I'm like, sure, I could have done that. It would have been fine.
Please don't call out my bracket, Freddie.
Was that yours?
No.
Yeah, thank you guys for the racing. Really appreciate it. And looking forward to racing Andy whenever that'll be.
Yeah.
Excellent.
That's
forward to that. For sure.
Best of luck to you, WallKicks, in that. Best wishes, Freddie, on your continued recovery there.
Appreciate it.
And looking to the future, we only have one match on the schedule for tomorrow, amazingly enough. None yesterday, one tomorrow. They're really starting to thin out, but at 5:10 Eastern, right here on the main SpeedGaming channel, we will have P-Train versus Tato, Game 2. P-Train is currently up 1-0 in that series.
Yeah, that'll be a fun one to watch. Two runners that most definitely know how to catch a jet seed, that's for sure. And yeah, that'll do it for us here tonight. Of course, make sure to follow all of the SpeedGaming channels. There's lots of content going on here at pretty much any hour of the day and lots of games. Once again, shout out to our runners. Please follow them, and we've got the links in chat. Also, shout outs and a very big thank you to our tracker tonight. One of my favorite names to say in the business, Awala Koala. Did an excellent job of keeping us straight and honest tonight, as well as managing a few little technical difficulties on the back end. So we're very appreciative for that effort tonight. And Drossi, I will let you bring us home. It was a pleasure joining you once again.
Yeah, you likewise. I'm glad we were able to fit this in since we started talking about it, I think, during quals or early groups that we should try to come a match together. So, yeah, it was a blast. Yeah, thank you all for tuning in. Hope you enjoyed this heck of a match. And stay tuned for a lot more great races over the course of this week and beyond. And have a great night.